How can you get the best deal on the home that you love and avoid overpaying for it in this crazy 2021 market? We'll get into that on today's blog topic. Welcome back, everyone. This is Rollins at Dallas Contemporary Homes, where we get your Dallas Contemporary home bought and sold, fast and simple, every time, period. Today's topic is going to be about how do you avoid overpaying in this market. If you haven't been living under a rock, you probably know that the 2021 real estate market is unlike anything anyone has ever seen, especially in Dallas. Record low inventory coupled with record demand leads to simple economics. Supply and demand. It's just economics, everyone. Low supply, high demand, crazy prices. That's exactly what we're getting. What we want to do is make sure that you aren't caught up in the hoopla and go out and put yourself as a buyer in a very precarious situation by overpaying for a property. 3 ways we're going to do this. The first thing we're going to do, you got to do your research. Knowledge is power. The more that you know about what properties are actually selling for, the better off you're going to be as a buyer. One of the key things to note is list price and sold price in this market are two terribly different things in many situations, especially if you're looking in the, let's say probably anything below 400,000, really below 500,000, list and sold price are not the same thing. On average, I'm seeing prices, I'm seeing anywhere from 3 to 5% over asking average, the median in many markets. So it's important for you to know, one, what are the homes actually closing at? What are they selling for? People are doing stuff like waiving appraisals. All of these things are factoring into these record prices that we're seeing. Some of these places are seeing ridiculous equity appreciation even in 1 year. So the more that you know and do your research up front and just keep an eye on the market and kind of follow the trends, that's going to prepare you. There's a caveat. You're not going to get access to sell data without having a real estate agent. That is, Texas is a non-disclosure state. If you don't have an agent that you're communicating and working closely with, you won't actually know what the houses are selling for, and you're going to be looking at the list and you're not going to know the true data, and that's going to put you at a disadvantage. So, knowledge. The second thing you got to do is you got to structure, well, it's a little bit out of order, but you got to structure a competitive offer when you do go in. Coupled with the first thing, which is knowledge, the competitive offer is not just about price. That's where people lose it. People always think the more money. And true, sellers want to make as much money as they can on a deal. Who doesn't want to get maximum profit? But it's also about terms and conditions. It's about speed. It's about efficiency. It's about as few hurdles as possible. If you're a cash buyer, you hold the Joker card, because it's very rare that anything is going to beat a cash deal. Now, in this market, there are a lot of cash buyers. However, what's important to note, most buyers are not cash buyers. So in those situations, how do you compete with cash offers? Just being honest, generally, you're not going to be able to. But it's not because of the money. It's because of the speed and efficiency. Most people who are cash buyers can close in 10 to 14 days. Compare that to having to go through a loan process and get underwritten and get financing contingencies and appraisals and all of these things. And it just muddies the water. So if you're competing against a cash buyer and you're financing, even if you have a 20% down conventional loan, you're just gonna be at a disadvantage because the cash offer is just a cleaner, more straightforward pathway to success for the seller. And the seller really just cares about what's best for the seller. Just like in most situations, you as a buyer care about what's best for you. So Structuring an offer is a very important thing, and it's not always about the money. It's very important that you know that. Money is definitely a key factor, it always is, but that's not the be all end all in most situations. The third thing that I think is important for you to know as a buyer in this market, you have to explore options. Being willing to compromise is a great way to not only get a property that you may have otherwise overlooked, but also get a great deal. When we're talking about avoiding overpaying, one of the best ways to do that is to be flexible. Now, I'm not telling anyone to settle. This is a lot of money regardless of what house you're buying. You should certainly want to buy it. However, being flexible in the sense of not locking yourself into one particular property is going to give you leverage, because even in this market where there's low inventory, there's very rarely a situation, I actually haven't personally had one, where there was only one house on the market that would work for any particular buyer. Now, if a buyer kind of marries themselves to that specific property, that's a problem, because if you don't get it, then you're just kind of stuck in that situation. However, if you're flexible and you realize that, hey, maybe if I compromise this or that, I can actually pick up more on this side of the transaction, that's where you're gonna win. The people who overpay in this market get very emotional. They get attached to something. They get into that, I gotta have it, which as a seller, that's fantastic. When I'm listing properties, that is the situation that I am trying to create for my sellers. That's how we get maximum equity. That's how we get the best conditions and terms for our sellers. That's also how we get all of the trifecta on the selling side, which is maximum money, low effort, low drama. That's what sellers want. That's what they need. But you as a buyer are trying to go opposite of that. You want to save the most money, get the best deal, get the house you love, and do it with as little stress and drama as possible. The way you do that is by giving yourself options. The more options you have, the least likely you are to get super emotional about any particular property, and the least likely you are to overpay for something, because you're going to be rational. People overpay when they become irrational. When you're working with Dallas Contemporary Homes, we have a duty and an obligation and a desire for you to make sure that you are not being irrational with your search. It's all about expectations. There's another video that's coming specifically about expectations, because it's literally one of the most important factors for not only a buyer, but also a seller in this market. Stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, recapping in no particular order. How do you avoid overpaying? 1, do your research, know the market. 2, structure a solid offer. That's also tied in with doing your research. And 3, have the right expectations, people. If you follow that formula, and if you work with Dallas Contemporary Homes, we will make sure that you follow that formula. You will not overpay for a property, period. So, if you're curious about more of this, want to know more about how we do what we do and help our clients buy and sell their contemporary homes, fast and simple, even in this market, every time, period, call us, drop an email, send a text. I will be happy to talk to you about it, custom tailor a strategy specifically for your needs and situation, and make sure that you're taken care of at the highest possible level. Till the next one, over and out.